Respected jurors, my thesis topic is the Mumbai High Court at Bandra. To begin with the introduction, High Courts are principal civil courts of original jurisdiction in each state and union territory. There are 24 High Courts at the state and, and union territory level of India. Together with the Supreme Court of India, this is the country's judicial system. Evolution of courts in India begin at the Hindu period. In the olden times, the king himself stood as the head of the judiciary. Post-independence, after independence, the Constitution of India came into force on January 26, 1951, and the judiciary system was set up in an hierarchical order with High Court at each state capital. What is a High Court? The state government has three organs: judiciary, legislative, and executive. The High Court represents the judiciary. The Legislative Assembly represents the Legislative Assembly. The aim of my project is reimagining judicial structures. A new court complex for Bombay High Court that will now be the Mumbai High Court in its function, architecture, user experience, and performance. For my research methodology, I initiated with the research stage, which has literature case studies and live case studies. Then from there, it was the data collections from which I derived hierarchy, space requirements, proximity, zoning, etc. After that, there was a preparation of design brief and inference. Later, it was design stage, study and site analysis, zoning, conceptual design, design development, and towards the final design. The High Court fosters six different user groups: judges, lawyers, administrative staff, media, security, and the public. The Bombay High Court complex sees a footfall of 6,000 people every day, out of which 2,000 are part of the courthouse staff. My initial case study is the Bordeaux Court Complex in France. I chose this as my case study to study how in foreign countries the judicial structure is experimented in its architecture. After that, the Palace of Justice in Chandigarh. This case study was chosen to study the quality of architecture by Sir Le Corbusier. Later, after that, I studied the Gujarat High Court because of the popular criticism from its end users. My life case study started with Kerala High Court, one of the recent outlook we have in modern high courts in India. After that, it was Chennai High Court or the Madras High Court, which was one of the oldest high courts in India and one of the most traditional buildings of India. Life case study was done to study the existing building, to study the functions of the Bombay High Court with its user group and functioning of zoning, etc. The Bombay High Court is battling severe space crunch. It has managed to function exceptionally well with outdated resources and temporary arrangement, but it's soon reaching its breaking points. The challenges are broadly as classified. Crowd management is essential since the average footfall is 6,000 persons per day. The design aims to provide ample waiting areas for the public and tackle unnecessary crowding. Providing comforting work environment and freezing freeing the staff from cramped and suffocating environments in the constrained site, keeping in mind the security is one of the challenges. Provision of ample storage space to store all case files, separate circulation each for the judges, the public, the staff, and to provide storage without intersecting and making the design complex. The case study analysis was classified into different aspects with specifications, concept, site planning, build typology, site impact, contextual response, functional organization, vertical zoning, symbolism and expression. Inference in area program. The Bordeaux Court complex in France has its openness. The court building stands amidst the public space that has continued movement throughout the day. That has continued movement throughout the day. This movement has not been disturbed in the design and also fosters the public by providing a public promenade in its site. Contextual response. It's responsive to the urban typology. Fine grained even texture does not break away from the existing response to the site, but also stands out in using its architectural expressions. Structural experiments. The building plans that are repetitive are superimposed, creating harmony and order at the same time. The courtrooms are experimented to be large, unique structures. When it comes to Chandigarh, the Palace of Justice, it's a landmark building. The Palace of Justice stands as a landmark to the site. The building is an architectural monument constructed to speak volumes about the art and architectural heritage of Chandigarh. Massing. Massing, the structure of the High Court, shows the power of architecture in its form, emphasizes on functionality. The scale and proportion of the High Court is one of its main attractions, enhancing user experience through design. From the entrance to the courtrooms, the architect, Sir Le Corbusier, has used materials and structure to enhance the human psychology with experience, proves a sense of curiosity and order and discipline to go with the decorum of a civic structure. Considering every end user, providing access and promoting public spaces, creating a sense of order and hierarchy has been derived from Gujarat High Court. The design envelope fails away to make room for the user's wishes, for it is they who ultimately will be using the building in question. The perspective holds merit. Lawyers had to walk long distance from court to court, and many of them had to visit several in a day, providing access and promoting public spaces. The design seeks to evoke a sense of order and dignity and lays an emphasis on shaded public spaces. When it comes to the Madras High Court, there is a compromise in security. The court complex has 7 entrances, and to require the fitting of this, there has been technical and additional manpower to enhance this. The building resists vehicular movement within the site. The parking can be located in the outer boundaries of the site or of the court complex, which enhances the security and safety of the building. Lighting and ventilation. The court complex fails in lighting even though there is ample exposure to courtyards and exterior spaces. Even artificial lights result in poorly lit, dim interior spaces. When it comes to Kerala High Court, it has been the courtyards. The courtyards provide great ventilation, helps in reducing the noise pollution caused by everyday activities of the court. Whereas the landscape of the main is one of the main constraints, as the entire structure stands tall in the minimum site area, which has a lack of parking and landscape facility. When it comes to Bombay High Court, the maintenance, storage facility and zoning, the entire structure stands true to the architecture of its time. But the current conditions of the building results in poor maintenance. Planning and designing a building that stands tall for the future must be considered. Storage and spatial facility. Zoning. The lack of storage and spatial requirements constrains the regular functioning of the building. Site analysis. The site is situated in Maharashtra, Mumbai, at Bandra East. Mumbai has a total population of 12.8 million, being one of the most busiest and important cities of India. It uses local railway line and buses for its public transportation. The site has a bus stand at 230 meters away. The Bandra railway station is going to be the common point to the site, and Chhatrapati Shivaji railway station 5.2 kilometers away. Chhatrapati Shivaji airport, which is 5.2 kilometers away, also provides a constraint in building height, which shouldn't exceed more than 58 meters. There are 3 institutional buildings, which is one of it is the two of it is just educational buildings, and one of it is a labor court. The site's prominent wind direction is northeast and southwest. It has public roads adjoining from all of its side and through its central axis. The schematic section shows the current conditions of the site. It has government colony or government quarters right now in the site. The site also has high potential to vegetation, as locally available plants were amply found near the sites behind with Mahatma Gandhi Vidya Marg. The climatic conditions: the warmest month of the year is May with an average temperature of 29.7 degrees Celsius. January is the coldest month of the year. Driest month is also January with 0 mm rainfall. In in July, the precipitation reaches its peak with an average of 835 mm. Coming to design program, what differentiates a behavior of high court building? Democratic sense, contextual response, form and function, segregation, transparent architecture, integration, and inclusivity. The evolution of design or the form starts with the typical typology of the buildings that are currently existing at the site. It was rectangular, broken into 2 with a massive courtyard in between that acts as a heat sinking agent. It has prominent wind directions from northeast and southeast. I use this typology to break it down to a circle that is broken into 2 semicircles, which stands out in its form, but at the same time does not break even from the contextual response. Then an axis was provided to find out the most prominent or important site location at the site. When it comes to concept, the concept is of the people, for the people, and by the people. Freeing up the ground for the people, having a distinct vocabulary of the people by becoming iconic, giving its due importance to its function and its components, that is by its people, by providing a transparency in architecture, creating an interior relationship, and also fostering individual privacy to each and every other component. We protect the system, and the system protects us. From the for the 2 main pillars that holds together functioning of the court that smoothens the entire programming of the High Court: the lawyers building and the administrative building. The respected in the highest power is a representation of justice that is protected by people, for the people, and of the people. The site zoning has been done within its zones, and then the weather conditions and the access that is provided. The special topics is my special topic is relevance of civic architecture. Center is a network of spaces or buildings that provides essential service to a city or town. My primary design tactics has been design for functionality, design for sustainability, choose the most effective layout, provide efficient wayfinding, inject character, foster a sense of security, set the tone through landscaping, offer community amenities. What happens to the High Court after its working time? What happens after 5 p.m.? With the daily hours of working from 10 a.m. to 1:30, lunch hours 1:30 to 2:30, working hour again from 2:30 to 4:45 p.m. What happens after 5 p.m.? This has been studied through a case study in Barcelona, the city of justice Barcelona. Its features are massive. It breaks down the massive program into series of separate but interrelated blocks on a public plaza, provide equilibrium to the relationship between different working areas and public areas and landscape. All the floors are accessed directly from the concourse building, which acts as a filter, gathers people at the start and completion of the judicial visit within the central public. Further, the building is planned to contain social housing. Each building is different and contrasting, although muted in color tone. I have explained the site plan along with my application of special topic. My main primary entrances are from D dash and E dash. There is a central plaza which adorns the entire elevation of my High Court. The judge's entry is from behind, and there is a secondary entry for senior citizens and respected staff of the administrative and lawyer wing. I have proposed a multi-level parking facility for lawyers and public. Coming to the floor plans, my ground floor plan fosters the public and the media for the courthouse, and for the other two buildings. Only the beginning of the building will be public entertaining. That limits its proximity to the courthouse and the beginning of the building, of the annex buildings. The courtroom starts from the second floor. Adjacent to each accent, I have placed 8 courtrooms with their respective judges' chambers. The additional judges' chambers come superimposed to these judges' chambers at 3 meters height, and the courtrooms have 6 meters height. The other side of the court complex will have conference rooms and storage facility, which doubles the facilitations for having more judges and storage facility, and also reduces storage by not giving 6 meter height for the entire building. I have 48 courtrooms placed in 6 floors, and the seventh floor will have the judges restaurant, the chief justice chamber, the chief justice courtroom, the judges association hall, along with the records room and their library. The similar kind of thing is carried on in lawyer and administrative block, whereas the working members or the continuous chambers or rooms are provided towards the outer end, and the public places or community gathering spaces are given in the initial phase. This is the design layout which shows the zoning of my courtrooms, how the public stands for yellow, and how the judges' chambers will be segregated. It will have 2 judges' chambers along with 1 courtroom. The sections. This section cuts along the axis of my building. Thank you.